Hey everybody, Cookie and Swanee here once again. A little podcast change up for this one because we are looking at the Battlefront 2 suckiness bracket. For you guys who do not know, it's a bracket that I created about a week and a half ago, around the time March Madness started. And it was just 64 different things that I came up with that have been a problem with this game since the launch. Some of these things have been fixed since then, but they were still issues at one point or time and another. The first two rounds have been completed with the people who have seen the bracket, and now me and Swanee are going to take a look at the 16 things that are left and the matchups that are ahead and kind of get our opinions and our take on these matchups. So first off, Swanee, is the matchup between the DC-15 LE explosive shot, which just got patched, versus the fact that we have no private match, which that has not changed. That is still a massive problem. Just for a slight amount of background, DC-15 LE explosive shot has dominated its way into the Sweet 16. No private match, just barely beat AFKing in Heroes vs. Villains in the last round.
What is interesting to me about this bracket is that it's cool to see how people, like, their opinion on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody's voting for what they dislike more than other things, and the fact that some of these have made it this far just shows how much the community really
hates,
like how strongly they feel about some of these topics. Yeah.
Well, actually,
so it's kind of interesting.
On that idea, what the DC-15 LE explosive shot beat in the last round was the whole a sense of pride and accomplishment thing, which is a big thing. I mean, that was one of the major issues from the very beginning. Like that Reddit post, that was the most disliked thing in history of Reddit. And that lost to the DC-15 LE. So that should tell you something right there.
Well, that's because the people that are voting are the people that continue to play the game, and they didn't care about the sense of pride and progression as much.
Yeah.
I mean, and then the ones that are playing saw how broken that gun was, and then we had to deal with it for an entire month. So, honestly, I'd probably vote for that too. Because I hated the heavy. I've hated the heavy since launch.
For a different reason.
For those of you that follow this channel since the game came out, there's always a reason I hate the heavy. First it was Broken Sentry, and then it was the explosive shot, and then it's the ion turret. There's always something wrong with the heavy.
I think you started just hating the fact that it had 200 health. You're like, that's just too beefy. That was the least of the problems as it was to come. But I would say in this matchup, I think, like, for us personally, no private match is terrible because it's so important to our channel, just the things that we could be able to do.
Yeah. See, I don't know what I would vote for because for me, like you said, we need private match. Like, if we had private match, we could have made so many more videos at this point. There would have been a lot less hate on this game, because we would have been distracted by private matches. Like, we could have done 1v1s with subscribers. There's tons of stuff we could do. But I really hated that month of that heavy. Like,
well,
anytime you were a hero, you just got melted.
Well, it was more than just heroes. I mean, the Supercharged Sentry I felt was more targeted towards screwing heroes over. The DC-15 LE killed everyone nonstop.
Everything.
Like, there was nothing that could stop the DC-15. It completely broke the game. And from my point of view, I didn't even play the game. It was so broken. So, I mean, I just completely left the game.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to go with no private match, though.
Still no private match?
Just because of how crucial it is for us to have it for, like, we're missing out on so many things with private matches. Like, we could have done cinematic films. We could have done 1v1s. We could have done Battlefront TV.
That's also, like, one of the only things on this list that I've hated since launch. A lot of this stuff came along.
Was no private match.
But no private match not being in.
Instead, we got that sucky arcade mode.
Yeah, it's getting slightly better, but it's still not nearly what we wanted.
Kill some brain-dead AI. All right, let's go to the next one.
Next matchup is Vader's Broken Choke, which, we'll get to it. And then
which is since the last update.
It's still broken. Then there's Season 2 coming...
I mean, the previous update.
Soon, in quotes. I feel like Season 2 coming soon, in quotes, is going to win here. I don't think it's going to be close. Because as bad as Vader's choke is, and it is broken and it sucks, that line has dominated. It beat Pay to Win in the first round, 379 to 32. So it destroyed what was considered the worst part about this game, at least by the general public, and it massacred it. And then it dominated low health
right
heroes.
now, as we're recording this, there's still no announcement for Season 2.
Yep.
We don't know if we're ever going to get it. It's just coming soon. They said that in January, and it's the end of March.
Yeah.
So, versus Vader's Choke. I mean, Vader's Choke is broken. It's not as good as it was before. But, I mean, you can still damage people and still, like, choke them. I mean...
At least there is something there. There's no Season 2.
It's not like Vader's Choke's coming soon. Maybe one day you'll get a choke with Vader, but who knows when.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, my vote's for the
Season
coming
2.
soon thing. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to give my vote, because then I might sway people into voting certain ways.
Well, I'll say this. I think
future.
Season 2 is going to dominate this matchup, though. No matter what I think is who should win.
So it's a pretty safe bet to say
I'd
that.
be shocked if Vader's Broken Choke is such a big deal that people actually would vote for that over the fact that Season 2 was told that it was coming in January and still hasn't come out, and it's the end of March. Not only that, we don't have news about it, and it's the end of March. So, yeah, that's pretty
well, that's
high
got
up
my
there.
vote.
Next up is OP Supercharged Sentry versus the long wait for patch 1.2. Interesting thing about the long wait for patch 1.2 is we've had a long wait for patch 2.0 too. So that's kind of in general.
The patch 1.2 wait was what, the first patch or the second patch? Is that the second patch?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, we weren't used, like we were expecting frequent patches at that time. We had no idea that it was going to take a month because they didn't tell us. At that time, they said they wanted to do patches every 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks rolled around and nothing happened. Then the third week rolled around and we still didn't hear anything. And then the fourth week finally got there, and then they're like, yeah, we just want to do patches once a month now. I think that's what made patch 1.2 so bad, was that we all expected it a lot sooner, and then they went silent and didn't tell us until a month later.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like forever, because we had no idea that we were gonna have to wait a month. And now, since then, it's been a month wait for every patch.
Yeah, that's true. Patch 2.0, I think our expectations just dropped. We didn't care. I think at that point we were all looking at the progression system coming in and like could care less about the patch. Like the game was basically dead as far as we were concerned anyway. So like as broken as this DC-15 LE is, and it was extremely broken, I don't feel like the long wait felt as long for patch 2.0 because I felt like more people were waiting for the progression system as opposed to the patch. But yeah, you're right. The long wait for patch 1.2 was horrible. Now the Supercharged Sentry being OP, we kind of already mentioned that one, but that was that lasted for a long time.
It was pretty bad that first for like month or so, and then they nerfed it and it was pretty much useless, which was my favorite time period. Then they buffed it again, but people didn't use it that much because they didn't have to because of the broken DC-15 LE. So now that that's gone, they might go back to using the Sentry. So I still hate the Sentry.
Maybe do you think the fact that the DC-15 was so broken makes the Supercharged Sentry not look as bad?
Yeah.
I think that's gonna hurt it.
I mean,
in this list.
Yeah, pretty much. I think in this voting, yeah. And because back in the day, when you had a hero, you were just screwed. But I mean, this DC-15 LE patch really poops on that Sentry. So yeah, the Sentry looks like nothing in comparison to that broken heavy gun. So yeah, I think people are probably going to vote more towards
the long wait.
Towards the other one.
All right.
Yeah, the long wait.
Next matchup is crazy expensive Epic Star cards up against at EA Star Wars Pathetic Showcases. This one's kind of interesting because obviously that system's gone now with Epic Star cards. So I don't know if that'll impact it or not, but the fact they were expensive this long anyway, and it barely beat out no customization, which I thought would actually be a big deal. So This one's
Well,
kind of
define your
interesting.
@EA showcases.
Well, that's the Twitter. That's the Twitter for @EA Star Wars. The showcases is their videos that show like the top
Their
plays.
little highlights of
top
stuff
plays
that's not
of the week, and
highlights.
it's like a stupid play. Or the
Top plays of the
course,
week,
the
and it's
worst
literally
is-
just a man walking around the corner killing one
yeah,
person.
the worst, of course, is when they highlighted the broken DC-15 glitch as a showcase. That was the low of the low for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the matchup.
So it's the broken showcases and the. See, my vote is easily the purple star cards. I care less what EA's Twitter does. They could, in comparison to the purples. I mean,
Yeah.
because obviously their Twitter's pretty stupid, but I don't have to grind out like months for their Twitter. Like, I played the crap out of this game. I even made a video about how, like, at 800 or 600 hours into the game, I only had so many purples unlocked. Up until the progression system change, I still, there's, as of right now, there's tons of star cards. I'm not even close to getting to purple.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's got my vote.
This one,
I don't know why they let it go so long.
this one
the way that
might,
they did.
this one might be close. I can't tell. Like, I'm not sure just because of the fact that those star cards aren't there now. I don't know if it'll have as much anger behind it, but I mean, they were there for 4 months, so. I don't know. And the Twitter is obviously not that big a deal, but it's just insulting. It's like, really? You really think this is what's going on with the game? It just kind of highlights how out of touch EA appears to be with this game. I think it's just,
Yeah.
that's more or less what the problem is, I think, with that. Next matchup, I don't think is going to be that close, but we'll see. Because the one is still waiting for any real DLC, which has been pretty dominant so far. That's going up.
Kind of ties into the Season 2 thing.
It's close. It depends. The only reason it's different is because Dennis said the seasons don't necessarily mean they're coming with DLC. So that's the
Oh, so
part
you
that
mean
kinda
any
separates
real
it.
DLC, as in something that's not a map that's from the last game, or
Oh yeah, real
something like
DLC,
Aiden's
like
TIE
not the
Fighter.
jetpack cargo, not Aiden's TIE
Yeah, like a
Fighter,
hero,
not the arcade
or
maps.
Droidicas, or something
something new
that matters.
Yeah, something real, and that
Yeah,
has been.
I don't care
pretty
what the
dominant so
opposing
far.
thing is. That's got my vote.
Well, the opposing thing is a big deal, but it's not as big as the DLC, I don't think. It's no double XP or credit events, which has been,
Yeah, that was pretty important.
that's a big thing they haven't done, and they still haven't done. I can't, I mean, that,
Well, there's no need to do it now. They're
Yeah.
not going to, ever. Because if they do double credits, then they're going to lose out on microtransactions for costumes.
yeah,
So they will probably never have a double. They might have a double XP event, because XP doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you're level 20 or level 50. I don't, like, who cares?
well, it matters with.
I've been level 50 for like 3 months.
The double XP would matter as far as the individual things, like if you leveled up faster as an officer or leveled up faster as Darth Maul, like that stuff would matter. I mean,
Oh, okay, yes.
so they could
okay,
still
yeah.
do that.
Now that makes sense. I forgot about that with the progression system.
Yeah.
Double XP would make a difference. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, so they definitely should still do this. That's definitely something in the future they should definitely do. I guess part of the reason they never did it is because they weren't going to stick with that system anyway, maybe. But I don't think that's really a good reason. Because they're going to convert all
Yeah,
that
but
stuff.
I'm still gonna have to go with the DLC, because it doesn't matter if we get DLC tomorrow. The fact that we've had to wait this long for anything is pretty pathetic. And I mean, they can blame it on the quarterly thing. Like, they
Yeah.
can't announce anything in the last quarter. They should have at least told us they didn't have anything planned for this quarter, so we wouldn't have been as angry as we were, waiting every day. Oh, is there any news?
Or
Is
at
there any
least
news?
said,
Wait
like,
the next day.
hey,
Still
we
no
won't have
news.
anything this quarter. We're planning to right after or something. Or give us something. But, yeah. Which is interesting because
So,
that's the lack of communication, which actually lost to still waiting for any real DLC. So that was one of the big wins.
Oh.
So that shows you just how important this, that is. All right, this one's a little bit, I guess, a little underwhelming, I think, compared to those two. But it's Empty Lobbies versus Kylo's Crappy Frenzy. So Kylo's Bad Frenzy up against Empty Lobbies. That could probably go either way.
See, an empty lobby makes it so you can't even play the game at all.
It's pretty bad.
And if you're Kylo Ren, you're pretty much screwed if you use the Frenzy. Now, people say that Kylo's a lot better since the update, but I haven't noticed much of a difference at all. Because if I use the Frenzy, he just swings and misses and misses and misses and misses, and then he dies. Because he swung 8 times and missed every time. Or you'll use his Frenzy and he'll fly him up into the sky and he's like swinging in the air at nothing. Just getting unloaded on because you can't move. You can't like stop the Frenzy and get away.
Well, it also
So
depends
it's either
on...
a glitch that ruins a hero or no lobbies.
It also depends on how often you get empty lobbies. Because I don't get it very much. I've only gotten it a few times. So it's not as big a deal to me, I guess. Personally.
I've noticed a difference at nighttime. Like, this game's starting to get the same problem Battlefront 1 had. If you play at night, sometimes you just don't find lobbies, which is not good, considering it's a
was
pretty
out
new
for like
game.
2 years before that happened. Or it was out for at least a year or so. So, that's not a good sign.
I think this applies more to, like, heroes versus villains. It takes forever to find a freaking match of heroes versus villains because you'll just be sitting there and it'll be like, we need 3 players. You wait like 5 minutes, it fills up, and then somebody leaves. And then you have to wait even longer.
Yeah, so I feel like empty lobbies might win that one just because I don't feel like... I feel like Kylo's Frenzy, I mean, it's bad, but I don't feel like as many people... I mean, I guess it got this far. It beat it, which is saying something, so maybe it's a bigger deal than I think. I would guess empty lobbies will win.
I don't know.
I don't know, that could be close.
I hate both.
Well, you should hate everything on here. There should be nothing on here you're like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
love that.
I do hate it. Yeah. That's a good point.
All right, next up is no stat screen versus challenges not working. Now, challenges not working, I was going to say it was something they fixed, but that isn't. They still don't have their challenges
This
working.
is a good matchup.
Challenges have been screwed up for
the
a long
fact that
time.
challenges don't work. Oh yeah, like I hate the ones where it's like a daily challenge. It's like play 3 Starfighter Assault matches. I'll play like 5 in a row because I'm like, there's no way this didn't count. And I get to the main menu and they're like, you played 1 round. I'm like, what the hell?
They still have it.
This is stupid. And then there's the ones where it's like get certain amount of kills with the hero and they don't work. Yeah, it's pretty frustrating. But the no stat screen, that's pretty basic. Even the first game had that. The first game even had an app where you could check your stats.
Yeah.
And this one they just don't care. Like, how does this game have less than the first game did? That's what I don't get.
Well, what's funny to me is about both of these are both very basic. That's what's really depressing. Like, this is not
Yeah.
DLC. This is... Challenge is not working. That's a glitch. That's an easy fix glitch.
Get the game to work.
No stat screen. It's
Apparently
easy
it's not
to
an
make.
easy fix glitch. It's been like 4 patches.
They keep, if they fix the one challenge, they break another one. Like they cannot seem to get challenges working perfectly, which is, it should be completely embarrassing. I don't know why that is still a problem. So both of these just kind of show ineptness and incompetence. These are both such basic things. But no stat screen must be pretty bad, because it beat map rotation, which I thought would do better in this bracket, which is a really big problem. It still is a problem. And it beat the squad system, which doesn't make any sense in the game.
Here's the thing. In the first game, I liked the stat screen, because I used to play, and I was really good, and I had, like, over a 7.0 KD ratio. Towards the end, I just stopped caring, because the game's kind of old. But in this one, I don't care at all. Like, I just run out and die on purpose. Like, if I had a KD ratio or, like, a win-loss ratio, I would try to do a little better. I wouldn't just run out and go on kamikaze missions and crash my ship into the ground and whatnot. Like, if I wanted to play for a good KD ratio, I mean, that would give me something to actually look forward to and have a little bit more fun in this game. But without it, I mean, I just don't care. Like, I'll just run into the battle with my Wookiee warrior and just throw a grenade at my feet. So, I think if they do add it, it would be nice if they did, like, a stat refresh, because I know my stats are going to be pretty horrible.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, there's also a stat screen in the files. It's already been data mined. So, like, why in God's name did they not put the... Yeah, because I showed that mod in one of my top 10 mods of the week. Like, why is that not in here? And it was different, and it was more advanced than the stat screen in the first Battlefront. It looked cooler. I don't get it. I do not understand how that didn't make it in here. But
pretty close.
all right, so we only have one matchup left. And this could be close. It depends on how we look at it. It's long-ass loading screens, which is bad. Versus probably...
That's pretty bad.
Versus the fact that we're probably getting solo DLC. That is the final matchup.
Okay.
This is another one that's tied in.
You give me your opinion first.
See, probably getting solo DLC is kind of tied into those other two that we already talked about, or at least close to those. But long-ass loading screens, like that was horrible in the first Battlefront, and it's horrible again in Battlefront 2. And also, long-ass loading screens kind of combines with some of the other problems, like empty lobbies and stuff, because if you have to go through a loading screen, then you're in an empty lobby. It's extra horrible. For me, it's... I almost want to say the loading screens, because I can't stand it. Like, I quit this game all the time just because I can't stand the fact that I have to load just to go to the freaking menu. Like, I can't... It's so awful. But the fact that we're probably getting solo DLC
they're pretty
might
bad.
completely kill the game, depending on how
They're a lot
bad
better
the
on
loading is.
PC, though. If you play on console,
This is true.
loading screens are pretty bad, but on PC, it's way
This
faster.
is very true. People on PC may have no idea what we're talking about. That is something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So I would probably say the solo DLC is worse because it's probably going to potentially kill the game unless the movie is a big hit.
Well, let me tell you how much I hate the solo DLC. I would rather have double the loading screen time that we have now than have solo DLC for this game. I would sit through double the length that we have to sit between matches.
I guess I agree with that, but damn.
just so the game doesn't die. Because if they give us solo DLC before Clone Wars, it's done. There's no bringing it back from the grave. It's over. I don't care what people say. I mean, we have analytics and we have tons of comments and we have all kinds of information from our subscribers that tells us that. I mean, if they give us, well, they're going to give us costumes.
I mean, it's okay. I don't care
Young
if they
Han
give us
Solo
some of
is a
that
hero.
stuff. What I care about is that they don't give us anything else. Like,
Oh,
again,
yeah. Same.
that's also something important to put in that. That's saying probably getting solo DLC and not anything else. Because the fact that we're getting solo DLC by itself is not necessarily a bad thing. Or I should say, if it is by itself, that's how it would be a bad thing. So that I should clarify that, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, that without Clone Wars or without anything else added to it, that's gonna be a
like
bust.
I don't care if we get the solo stuff. Like I'm okay with solo skins or a new bad guy or something, but we better get Clone Wars stuff either tied in with it or before it.
Yeah.
Because if we wait this long and they're like, oh, guess what? You get young Han Solo and Lando skins and a new bad guy, and that's it. Here's a new map and a new
Falcon.
ship where you're going to be your new Falcon with Lando as the pilot.
You got the third Millennium Falcon. God.
Third Falcon of Han and Lando teaming up.
No, they'll just make it Han and Chewie again. It'll just be Han who can't sound like Han. Han.
They give us a new Han, which is younger, not looking like Han.
Yeah.
Based off of the movie. But yeah, that has my vote for sure, because I would much rather have the loading screens over Han Solo DLC.
I don't see the
Clone
loading
Wars.
screens ever going away either. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be there.
Yeah, that's there forever.
So,
yeah,
I would have to agree with there. So that's all the matchups,
I
guys.
think it's going to be a tough voting.
Yeah.
Voting
And like I said, it's interesting to see what stuff is still around and what stuff didn't make it that far. Especially pay to win, I think is the most interesting. That it got destroyed by the fact that we haven't had season 2. So, yeah, some interesting stuff. So, guys, the bracket will be available as soon as this video is public. It will be in the description. We'll throw in a comment at the pinned comment at the top as well with the link to it. Obviously on our Twitters. It'll be all over the place. So just follow those links. Go in. Vote for which ones you guys want to advance as what you think is the suckiest parts of this game, Star Wars Battlefront 2. And let us know what you think of the think of us talking about, and we'll probably do it in the future if you guys enjoy it. Also, smash that like button, comment what you guys think is the worst part, or if you think we might have left something out, in case, or think something should have gone further, whatever you guys want. Sponsor or donate if you can, and I guess that's it. So we'll talk to you guys later.
We would be honored if you would join us. You cannot resist